Hello, everybody. We got a special episode, and I'm filled with passion. All right, you're gonna hear it in my voice because it just boom, it popped up in my mind. I'm like, what is this week's episode gonna be? I think it's gonna be about being reborn. And you're probably saying, what in the hell is this guy talking about? Being reborn? Excuse me, we only live one life. That is not true. We live two lives, and the second one begins as soon as you realize you only have one. I know it sounds weird. I have went through so many changes this year. So much. And I feel it. I've been reborn this month. Or this year, excuse me. And it's a very hard topic to explain. It's easy to feel. It's easy to comprehend it if you're that person being reborn. But explaining it, people are just going to look at you cross-eyed. All right, this podcast is really meant to show my experiences, make people learn, and explore your mind, honestly. And today, I think I've been the most reborn. This is recorded on the 6th of December, and it'll probably go out later on today. I feel so much passion toward this topic, and I'm cutting it very thin, if that makes sense. I'm cutting it very, very thin before the deadline, so I hope I can get it perfect. Now, I want to explain how this happened, how this could happen to you, and you don't even realize it. Now, for years now, about 2 years at this point, I was dull. All right, I never wore a mask in my life. All right, and I'm not talking about COVID, which is funny, but I have never ever hid my feelings or anything like that. And I think because I talked about it so much on what I was going through at the time, I didn't process. Because you could talk about something and not do anything about it. And now that I'm getting my shit back on the track, I'm a new me. I'm a new me. And sometimes you come to a path in life and shit just hits the wall. Shit just hits the wall. Or on the conundrum, you feel like you're living the same day over and over again. And you're just like, man, I need change. Change is a very, very scary word to most people. Weirdly enough, as human beings, we think the worst. Oh shit, it's change. I'm gonna hate the new house. I'm gonna hate these new people that I've met, etc., etc. But no. Okay, it is change. I learned very, very young. Change is just change. And to a certain extent, change is what you make it. Okay? Now, for me, there are changes that you can do by your own, like by yourself. You don't like something, change it. But then you do unexpected changes, like somebody passes away. And boom, that wall just hit you. And you're just like, oh my god, what do I do now? Like, what do I have left in this tank? This person was with me through thick and thin. Boom, they're gone. Or car breaks down, or a meteor comes down to Earth. You're hit with that position where shit needs to change, or I gotta get better. That's basically what I told myself for 2 years. And unfortunately, depression forms. There's certain depressions out there where you can't just explain it, but you're just unhappy. You're just unhappy. And, via doing live content for a while and just getting into a slump, just not happy anymore, just not as energetic as I am now. And weirdly enough, not as happy or smiley. Now, what changed, honestly? A certain person in my life that came in my life suddenly, and they've helped me out through a lot. And without them, I don't know if they know it or they know it, but they definitely changed my life for the better. And people like that, where those certain types of people, via your friends or your best friends, soulmates, whoever, sometimes you can't even look for them. All right, they just pop into your life, boom, they make you a better person. Now, on the caveat is that, unfortunately, at the beginning of meeting new people, they could actually bring you down, because when you're in a certain point of life, you could attract habits via their speech pattern, their forms of action. And I've met people in my life throughout the years that they took advantage of me, didn't realize I at the time, and you get hurt afterwards. But it's a learning experience. And a lot of some comments are just like, you're 26, what the fuck do you know? And unfortunately, it's just, people are gonna, no matter what age you are, everybody goes through something different. And that's just fact. And via, if you want to listen, take my advice. Don't listen, don't take my advice. It's gonna make you think no matter what. So personally, it doesn't really matter in my eyes how old you are, because everybody has a thought, everybody has different habits, and everybody thinks differently. And the feedback that I've gotten so much via this podcast really confirms what I'm doing. And I appreciate all the continued support every day. I feel like I say that every episode, but hey, season 3 is around the corner. You never know. And being reborn, and like people say reborn, a new you, your third eye opening, a lot of things like that really merge. They merge very well. And for me, I especially recently, I've been saying I'm Joe 2.0. Like, the old Joe is dead. Like, it's not that he's dead, it's just a lot of habits, a lot of things needed to change. Okay? And my biggest thing that needed to change is my mentality. It's not like I gave up easily. It's just like, once I'm down, I get back up and I repeat the exact same things I just did, and that outcome is the same. So for me, that is one thing I really, really needed to change. Okay, what the fuck am I doing wrong? And that's not a bad thing. Sometimes you live through life and you don't even realize certain things. Be like, a lot of people, and especially since I edit some of my stuff as well, I realize the slow decline in my attitude, my passion for what I've done. And I'm glad that happened to me, because if I never saw that, this podcast would have never been here. And granted, a lot of popular saying is, whatever happens, it's meant to happen. I realize that, and I get it, but it's your way of perspective, okay? Because in a parallel universe, I didn't do that. Would I still have the podcast, or would X, Y, and Z still happen? You never know, because you're living in the present. And that's what happened to me. And I mainly lived in the past, okay? And there's nothing wrong with living with nostalgia or the past, like I always say. Unfortunately, I didn't live in the present as well, and I just lived every day previous as the day before, and I never really grew until May, where a lot of lifelines, my life nets are gone now. Are gone. Poof. Just because I'm alone, living my life, having that net, I could always fall back on. Whoosh. Via it may be your parents or family or friends. you never know whose lifeline that is. And to realize, oh shit, I got no one now. Okay? Like, that's a big fucking realization, where it's not that the saying is like grow up, because that's not the point. I don't think like growing up has anything to do with it. I like the word evolving and developing. No matter what you do, believe it or not, is a characteristic of you, and you are already going through character development. It may take a day, it may take 2 years, it may take your whole life until you realize, I'm not happy. We've all had things in our lives that we didn't want to do, but we did it anyway. Via trial and error, or just for the growth process, everybody goes through that. We all had, via school, via decisions, via relationships, via people we meet, jobs. There are so many outcomes that you always say, man, I wish I would have never done that, or I could have done that differently. That is character development, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's not. And I love that. I love that so much, honestly, because being reborn and being Joe 2.0, I have more strength than I've ever done before. I've had more passion, and I learned from my mistakes, and that's what makes me better than before. And another thing is, I had to ask myself this: does this really matter? And it's a broad question. It really, like, I looked at everything in my house. I looked deep inside myself, and I asked, does this really matter? I love Spyro. Everybody, for example, I love Spyro. Plain blunt, I love him. I love him more than anything. I am the world record holder today. But I asked myself, does this really matter? And it's a depressing but an eye-opening question. Because I look 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, is it still gonna be here? Sometimes you'll have the answer, I don't know, or yes or no. But if you have I don't know or maybe, that's the things that you got to think about. You know, does it really matter? Does my future partner matter? Does the new house that I'm gonna live in matter? And certain things, whatever comes out the fastest, that's what you join on. That's what you need to be better with. And we all have habits, and we all have bad habits, good habits. We all have that. And believe it or not, in a recent study, the more creative you are, the more addictions you have, because it makes you in that zen moment. For me personally, it used to be slot machines. And when I was putting money in and pressing the button and hearing those sounds, I was in a different zone. It was just like, boom. Like, my body, my physical body was dead. Drool was probably dripping, but my brain at that point, current in time, it was my thinking spot. It was brr, 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 like, oh my God. Like, and that was my personal ones. And I'm not saying, like, if you have an addiction, that means you're not creative. No, because the simplest things could be an addiction. Even healthy things like lifting weights, exercising, and then you got others like just watching TV. And you never know what could be an addiction until, unfortunately, somebody comes up to you that you trust and you love and be like, that's an addiction. And it's crazy. It's crazy. Collecting Spyro items was also an addiction. But then I hit a wall. Okay? I had everything. And what do you do when you have everything? Do you just stop? And unfortunately, you do. You do, no matter how much you have it. And you could always be like, man, there's something else here. There's a custom here. That's not really the point. It was more of the adventure and the hunt to say, man, I did this. And now I look at it and I'm just like, I could do so much more with this money. And that's what, and I never had that thought. And I like it. I like it a lot. Like, I don't like me like getting rid of it, but it's the question, does this really matter? And at one point, I will honest to God admit, I said that years ago to myself, do I matter? And I'm like, no. Who gives a shit about me? And I'm like, now, like, if I had an old conversation with my past self, it is the previous thing, be like, you should never think like that. You just shouldn't. You are a creature on this earth. You are meant to live and explore your life. That is why we are here, to live by our mistakes and grow stronger than the day prior. And it's crazy. My mind just it didn't click. It took a very long time to click. But now that I'm on a positive path, I'm on the right path. And the weird thing is, I used to have guidance, and that wasn't the right path for me. And now that I'm living my own life, it makes it, the stress and the weight is off your shoulders, excuse me. Because once you stop living in other people's shadow, or you stop living like how they want you to live, all that pressure, all that stress is poof, gone. Believe it or not. And it may take a while. It may take a while, but once you find your path, it is the best thing ever. It truly is. And the weird thing is, I still don't think you could do it alone. Now, Reborn, in my opinion, for me, it was just a clicking factor. And I didn't really, I had reasons to do it, but it wasn't just one. And I always say, focus on yourself. You just gotta focus on yourself. But unfortunately, in my opinion and in my life, I became a better me for others around me, because I became something I despise, and I became something I hated. Where I became toxic. And now, after a very, very long time, people are coming back in my life, and the first thing I do is I apologize. And that takes balls, okay? I guess if you're a woman, it takes boobs. I don't know. But it takes courage. It really, honest to God, does, to admit your fault. And especially this month, I have apologized to a lot of people. And that's the first thing I do, is they say hello, and I say, hello, I want to tell you something. I apologize for being an asshole. And a lot of them say, Joe, you weren't an asshole. You weren't. And it matters what I thought I was. And I hated it. And it took me a few months to realize you are being negative. And it sucked. And the problem was, I didn't see it right off the bat. I didn't. It took months for me to be like, okay, now you fucked up. And a lot of people, it's crazy. You know, somebody in the community told me, how you act is the type of people that you will bring in your community. And I'm flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted because the weird thing is, think of it. If you're a captain of the ship and you're out sea and you're a dickhead to your crew, they will, no matter what, follow your orders. Because they're at sea. Where will they go? You're stranded buttfuck nowhere. And to the point of, you got half the crew agreeing with you, saying, no, you're not toxic. Half saying, you are toxic. It's the crazy theory, but it's what the captain thinks that he is. Or she is. It matters how you feel like you acted. Because sometimes you feel like, oh man, I was an asshole saying that, and then you explain yourself, and the other person is just like, no, you weren't an asshole at all. And it's mind-blowing to me. It is, because I personally feel I was not myself. And no alcohol was involved, no drugs, nothing. It was just the struggles that I was going with in my life. And it swamped up. It really did. It piled up. And one of my biggest problems, I don't know how to deal with shit. And it's crazy to deal with it. It really is, because I consider myself very thick-skinned, yet I'm emotional. And back then, is if I didn't like something, I beat the shit out of me. Like myself. And that's how I grew. Be like, I'm tougher than I was yesterday, because I physically beat the shit out of me and I grew up. In retrospect, no, that's not how you grow. And I did it. And I could laugh at myself, because I'm just like, man, it's not that I was stupid, okay? People are just like, why'd you do that? That's stupid. No, it's not. It's how I developed and realized by myself, this isn't right. This is not. And I hate also, if you're one of those people, be like, that's not normal. That's not what a normal person does. You better drop that from your vocabulary, because on this God green earth, nothing is normal. Nothing is fucking normal. So drop that from your vocabulary, first of all. Second of all, I had no one, okay? I had no one telling me, oh, this is bad, this is good. I did it by myself, and that's what made me stronger at the end of the day. I lost my hopes, and I recently had a conversation with somebody where once you lose your hope and once you lose your thrive, you're fucking done. You are done. Give up. Dunsies. Poof. Because nobody can give you that hope or faith. To a certain extent, they can, but if you have no motivation to believe in yourself, no, it's not gonna work. No matter what you do, you're just done. And sometimes you just need to back away. And ever since I backed away and I basically went in hibernation for 3 months, I couldn't have been better. And that's the unfortunate thing. But there's always a method to my madness, like I always say, where I needed to start anew. Like, just, I needed to become a new Joe. And it's not like the old one was bad. I still loved him. And I refer him to the past tense because that's not me anymore. And it's crazy. But one method to my madness is, once I'm away, who will remember me? And that was the validation I needed. Because mentally, I said, no, nobody's going to give a shit. Nobody's going to give a shit if you stay or go. So just go. They won't be here. They won't care. And lo, to my surprise, via friends, via online friends, the community, they're like, oh, how's it going? How are you? How you been? What's new? And it was just, when I'm wrong, to a certain point, I'm so glad I'm wrong, because once the negativity piles up, you just can't get out of that slump in a day. You just can't. You need to focus on you. And some people, they need to surround themselves with loved ones, and that's completely okay. I get it. You do you. That's not how I go. And it's not that I go into like hibernation. It's just like I stayed away from media. Now, I've talked about this a few times, and a lot of people online are considered blood to me, like their family. But once you're gone and you tell them, hey, I will not be back, when you come back, two things are going to happen. They're either going to respect you or they're just not going to care. I have met certain people like nothing's ever happened, but to a certain point, I needed that validation. Be like, okay, if I'm gone tomorrow, who's really going to miss me in three months? I could, via 3 months or a year, I know now those people that left, they'll be here at the end of the day. They'll fucking be here. And that was some motivation to continue what I love doing. And that was another reason how I needed to be reborn. And it's not like you fall asleep one day and, oh, boom, I'm a new me. No, it takes a lot of molding your own clay, figure out what the fuck is wrong. And that's a lot of people's problems, where they can't say anything is wrong. They can't. And if you say that, 9 times out of 10, you're fucking wrong, and you need help deciding what you need to change. And it's a very impactful question, because what is wrong with me? You may have half the people say, oh, nothing's wrong with you, you're perfect, just the way God created you. I've met so many family members that are just like, boom. But if you know there's something wrong and they give you that answer, they're a fake friend, in my opinion. Or they're not a fake friend, but they just want to give you what you want to hear. And if you're close to me, you've heard me say this a million times, no matter what, be honest with me. Because your intentions, your actions, and your emotions are what matter to me the most. That's it. That's how I roll. And I don't know if that's a dying breed or what, but the more people that gave me their opinions, it helped a lot. And it was that factor where my brain switched to I matter, but a lot of things I do or my habits don't matter at all. Because to be fair, you're gonna have people as well to be like, nothing you do fucking matters. Fuck those people, because everything you do does matter to you, a community, the world. It matters. So that negativity from that people that are giving you, 9 times out of 10, they don't have directions, or their whole life fucking suck and they don't want to fix it themselves. So they take their anger out on you to make themselves feel better. And there's always going to be those people. It's true. But without a doubt, reborning yourself is the best thing to do. And I know this sounds fucking crazy. It does, because if you're not like spiritual, or don't believe in reincarnation, or you brought up a different religion, it's called something else. Believe it or not, 9 times out of 10, the wording is just different in your religion. And if you're atheist, great. I mean, hey, I support you. We all have our own religion. Some we don't have any. And I love you all just the same, personally. Because no matter if you're white, purple, black, almond, it don't matter. Race is just a color to me. and it means nothing. I personally think we're all equals, male, female. I respect everybody. Truly, I feel like women get the shit out of the stick a lot of time, but that's society. That's not me. I'm sorry. But it's crazy because no matter who we are, at the end of the day, society has lost. We're all human, and that's what matters. And unfortunately, people forgot that. And no matter who you are, or what you want to be, or what you think you are, you could always be better. And I'm not saying, like, I am saying look at yourself in a deep manner. Like, I'm not saying, like, strip naked and, like, look at yourself nude. But to be fair, that has helped a lot of people, because via your body, via your mind, something to a certain point, you've got to ask yourself, am I happy too? Does this matter, and am I happy? And it's two of the hardest questions there are in this world, which fucking sucks. And I took a lot of months, a lot of years to realize I was happy, but not as happy as I want to be. And with happiness comes change, and I changed a lot. My soul, my aura has never been as bright and as big as it is now, and I could genuinely say that. I couldn't even remember the last time I said that. And a big thing is, one thing was another bad habit, which I didn't mind, but it affected other people. I talked negatively about myself. And hell, I did it earlier this morning on another recording. I called myself dumb or fucking stupid. And I had to pause. I had to pause because that wasn't right of me to do. That is shooting myself down in the fucking foot. And I reworded it and I said, I didn't know this. Because not knowing something does not make you stupid. And everybody was like, whoa, this is weird. Because normally I just roll on with the take. And that was my example on, weirdly enough, okay, another reason how I got reborn is those people around me. And they said, man, you changed. And it's crazy to hear that. My eyes lit up wide and I'm like, whoa. Because you can't just tell people, hey, I am Joe 2.0, I changed. No. People see it. Like, my mindset's very interesting. You don't tell people about your new job, how much money you have, no matter what, losing weight or anything, they will see it. And that's the wow factor there. Because, hey, you could tell somebody, I'm a millionaire, but once they see your bank account, they're like, wow. Like, they have that wow factor that just makes you feel good inside. Because one of my things is, yeah, I'm starting to lose weight again after Thanksgiving. That was my goal. I'm working every day, and believe it or not, back then, I wasn't a stress eater. I was a stress not eater. So I couldn't focus at all because I lack that energy. I lack that pizzazz, and I'm just like, I'll do it. But I was just running on fumes at that point. Now I'm running out on energy and using that energy to make myself feel good. And that is that's a new thing. I have been told my mindset changed, and the biggest thing that I'm proud of is my smile. I lost my smile. Like, I lost that. it's not like, yo, where's it go? Where did it go? It's like I had nothing to smile about. And as I've said with previous episodes, I coped with spiral items to give me that temporary smile. But now I'm smiling from when I wake up to when I fall asleep, unless if I have nightmares, then I get sad. But that's besides the point. And reborn, like being reborn, personally, physically, and mentally, I feel great. And when I look in the mirror, I see myself again. I had the biggest problem of looking in the mirror and just punching the mirror or just putting my fist in the mirror or something. I couldn't look straight, okay? And I wasn't a shy person at all. I just had that chip on my shoulder where who wants to look at me? And I didn't want to look at myself because I wasn't happy. And now that was one of the hardest things to do. I looked in the mirror and I talked to myself. And I thought about myself. The meditation sessions that I did made myself better. And I couldn't believe it. And I just figured out what I needed to do. I swallowed my last gulp and I said, I need to change. And then I took action. And now you're probably saying to yourself or thinking, well, if you're talking about action, why didn't you just do it from the start? Personally, for me, when your mind's not well, you're not well. So you just don't see it, unfortunately. Like, you just don't see it. So I was living day to day where I was content on not being happy because I'm like, think positive. I still don't do that as much. And like, that's a big change of mindset for me because once it's not that I thought negatively, it's like I was negative toward myself and the world around me, okay? And it's not taking life for granted either in my scenario, which a lot of people do. But for me, my mind just was hazy until a certain thing happened that made me wake the fuck up. Like all my eyes opened at that point where I'm just like, oh, this is reality. And you know, I don't know what my uncle's wishes were. He was my right hand man. He was a big part of my eye awakening. And I'm like, oh, okay, shit just got real. And I woke up. And for me, I lived my life, but also through other people as well. So I felt like what they felt and everything. And I didn't really have time to focus on myself for the longest time. And I focused on me. Now, it takes a lot, like, to change your physical mindset and your savability, because you're just like, oh, wait, this is my life. It's now or never. I'm not gonna live forever. But that's what happened to me. And I thank every episode. I thank the listeners, because without you, I probably wouldn't be here. I thank my community because yet again, they proved me wrong. And the thrill that they proved me wrong makes me so much happier, because it's not that I'm always right. By the way, I'm wrong probably about 50% of the time. But for a certain point, I live by my mistakes. And it just makes me so much happier. And I just feel great. Now, I sort of processed, or I sort of explained how I became Joe 2.0. Now, how am I different? That's another question that I want to feel. And I'm probably going to get more spiritual, so if you're not into that, I apologize. But there were two things I always said. I gave you the public answer, or I gave you the secret answer. Not the secret answer, but for the people that know me. I always felt like I'm a dirty penny. Before that was old Joe. I always felt like I was a dirty penny. Who the fuck would want me? I don't even want myself. And lo and behold, I don't feel like that anymore. The biggest answer was when I look at myself spiritually and I look in the mirror and not in my physical form. I was an angel who lost their wings. And it's ironic because if an angel loses its wings, it's just human. And I felt like that. And like I said before, we're all humans. But my problem was I felt more like a vanilla robot. We've all seen those movies. Everybody's marching, a drone, if you will. That's a better representation. You could have asked me to jump off a cliff and I would have been like beep boop bop, no, crash. But now I feel like my wings are flapping again and I'm so much happier. And every feather and every representation of each feather I have in my spiritual form is every mistake, every growth, every positive thing I've done, and every wrong thing I've done. And it's amazing. It's amazing because I didn't lose one or two feathers. I saw myself without wings. And I've had those wings for a very long time. And like I said, you may even think I'm fucking crazier now. But I like being crazy. I like being me. And nobody could tell you what you want to be or what you think you are or what you see in yourself. And that's the biggest thing. We all have beasts inside ourselves. Nobody else has the key but you. And everybody has that. And by all means, if you think you don't have a beast or anything inside you, an animal, a different form, by all means, I accept your thought. This is how I think, and you could think differently. It's just how I personally think. But once you see yourself in a mirror, and you just don't like it anymore, that was a big realization where I boom, something needs to change, as I've said before. And now I'm in the process. The best process, in my opinion, is the changing factor. Now, once all these spiral items go, that is going to be a factor. Hell, I mean, I wouldn't even, like, a changing factor of mine as well is I'm becoming more and more comfortable with the clothes that I'm wearing, if that makes sense. Because not my style has changed so much, but it is getting to the point where it is changing. I used to wear shorts all the time, and now I'm going back to my jean phase where I'm just like, I feel more comfortable in jeans because I think I look better in jeans. And I only wear shorts now if I'm lounging around the house, meditating or working out. And like small things like that, where something you usually do every day and then it all of a sudden changes, people start to question you, even as simple as, hey, where's your shorts, or something like that, because that's how other people think of you and represent you. And once that changes, it is sort of like a flag, be like, oh, this person is in character development mode. And the best thing that I would have to say is keep the people that you love and trust close. And I know that sounds stupid to say, because it's just like, well, if they're around me, obviously, I care for them. Once you have too many people in your circle, it doesn't become a circle anymore. It becomes a web. And webs definitely are more secure than circles. But just how I say, have a limit, because webs are more secure. But just for my personal people, if I have too many people in my circle / web, I can't represent and love them as much as I want them to. So that's why I have a circle, and to a certain extent they all love each other because they're in a circle and not just the web. It's not pick and choose who you love. It's okay, I love this person, they love me. I want you to love this person, or at least care for them as well. And that's just how I thought. And now that I'm Joe 2.0 now, I think you guys have seen a difference, have heard a difference in my voice, and I hope you like it. And even if you don't, accept it, because I'm not changing. I'm only changing for the better. And I'm developing more, I'm upgrading more, I'm smiling more, and when I smile more, I can make you smile more. And that's it. This was a great episode, I think. I think this is probably top 5. Honest to God, in my opinion. I rarely compliment myself, and I think I did great. I'm very passionate about this because I'm going through it right now, and a lot of changes. I think a lot of people are afraid of change, and I just can't thank you all enough again for listening. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please don't feel free to email me at Mr. Mrjoewilde WILD at yahoo.com. That email may be subject to change pretty soon, because we may be going through a brand name change. But I hope you guys can continue to support the podcast. Don't forget to share it with a friend or two. Share it on your blog. Share it on your OnlyFans. Anything helps. But thank you all very, very much. This has been Mr. Joe Wild. I hope you're happy because you made me happy. Take care, and I'll see you all real soon. And I can't wait for the new you to listen. Take care, and bye-bye.